What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that is the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that it helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and do yourself a favor and hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms as well to your family and friends to inform them of this news and information. And it does also help give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's now get into today's news. And in today's news, we are headed over to Martha's Vineyard. And the reason we're headed over to Martha's Vineyard is this. Yesterday, I did a live stream based on a news story that was produced by Fox 26 Houston, in which we discussed fake crimes that were being committed against illegal immigrants so that they can then apply for what are called U visas. U visas are visas that are granted to illegal immigrants who are the victims of crimes, violent crimes, trafficking, SA, everything of that nature. And once they've obtained those visas, essentially it's a gold ticket into the United States. Now, what I want to do is take a quick moment to just read what the benefits are of receiving a U visa once you get it. And there are also a lot of benefits that you receive while your U visa application is pending as well. But I'm not going to go into all that right now. What you should do if you want more details about the U visa and the Fox 26 Houston news report that we discussed, you have to check out yesterday's live stream, and I'll leave it tagged at the end of this video. But just to get a quick summary of the benefits of receiving U visa, the benefits are this, and it reads as such. Those granted a U visa obtain lawful status for 4 years, ability to work lawfully in the United States, and are eligible to apply for lawful permanent status green cards after 3 years of being in U visa status. Note that in some circumstances, U visa holders will also be able to help certain family members obtain status. You should speak to an immigration attorney or a DOJ accredited representative to learn who can be petitioned and the process. So that's a U visa in the nutshell. But once again, I will leave the video, the live stream that I did on this that gives you more detail about U visas. I will have that linked at the end of the video, of this video, right? But now, where does Martha's Vineyard come into play, right? Why are we headed over to Martha's Vineyard today? Well, the reason we're headed to Martha's Vineyard is this. At the end of yesterday's stream, I was going through the comment section, and someone made reference to those illegal immigrants who are flown to Martha's Vineyard or sent to Martha's Vineyard by Ron DeSantis, that they were all going to receive U visas. And at first, I didn't think much of it. And I really thought that the individual in the comment section was kind of just talking and saying stuff, not saying that as a point of fact, but just simply saying, hey, I bet those, illegal immigrants that got sent to Martha's Vineyards, they're going to get those U visas too. I thought that the individual in the comment section was just talking. But lo and behold, on accident, I actually stumbled across an article today that actually substantiated what the individual in the comment section stated. It appears as if the illegal immigrants sent to Martha's Vineyard by Ron DeSantis will be receiving these U visas. And the title of the article reads as such: illegal immigrants flown to Martha's Vineyard by DeSantis qualify for crime victim visas. Now let's get into it. Some of the illegal immigrants that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis flew to Martha's Vineyard in September of 2022 now qualify for crime victim visas, allowing them to stay legally and work in the U.S. At least 3 of the 49 immigrants applied for U visas last year, claiming to be victims of a crime. They alleged DeSantis and other Florida officials tricked them into taking part in a flight operation 2 years ago with false promises of work and housing. The two charter flights took off from San Antonio, Texas, and made a pit stop in Florida before reaching their final destination at Martha's Vineyards, an island off the coast of Massachusetts. Immigration attorney Rachel Self said three of the original group of 49 Venezuelan nationals received bona fide determinations for their U visa applications, meaning they can find jobs and stay in the U.S. without being deported while waiting for their special visas to come through. These determinations are one step closer to justice, Self told the Boston Globe this week. They further underscore that anyone who knows all the facts simply cannot ignore the criminality of the actors. More determinations will likely be issued since all 49 immigrants were caught up in the same scheme, she added. National Review contacted DeSantis' communication office for comment. Immediately after the migrant flights, DeSantis took credit for the taxpayer-funded operation. His decision sparked outrage from Democratic lawmakers and caused the Martha's Vineyard Chamber of Commerce to declare a humanitarian crisis. At that time, a DeSantis spokesperson said the group of illegal immigrants boarded the flights voluntarily. However, critics view the flight operation as a political stunt that exploited the so-called crime victims. Texas Sheriff Javier Salazar, who has jurisdiction over Bexar County, which contains San Antonio, thus launched a criminal probe into the Florida governor days after the flight took place. Salazar, a Democrat, permitted the illegal immigrants to assist with his law enforcement probe, which helped justify their U visa applications. According to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, U visas are set aside for victims of certain crimes who have suffered mental or physical abuse and are helpful to law enforcement or government officials in the investigation or prosecution of criminal activity. There have been no meaningful updates in Salazar's investigation since last year, and the local district attorney has not filed any charges against those responsible for handling the flights. The Bexar County DA's inaction in this matter is concerning and cannot be understated, Self said. Crickets from the DA's office? Why? Meanwhile, the affected immigrants filed a class action lawsuit against DeSantis and the other Florida officials for allegedly approaching them outside of a migrant shelter in Texas and other similar locales under the false pretense of offering humanitarian assistance. The plaintiffs also claim they were told they were being flown to Boston or Washington, D.C. instead of Martha's Vineyard. A federal judge in Boston dismissed DeSantis and the listed Florida officials as defendants from the lawsuit earlier this month, but allowed the plaintiffs to sue the Florida-based Vertical Systems, the airplane charter company that operated the flights. So that's where we are with this situation. So far, 4 of the 49, I believe they said, are in the application process of receiving the U visas. And upon coming across this information and verifying it to be true, immediately what came to mind is, to what degree will this U visa application process be abused? Because as you just read here, and once again, as I discussed in detail in the live stream last night, once your application is in process, you are now immune to being deported. You can't be deported now. And you also are issued a work permit as well as a handful of other benefits. And I immediately started to think to myself, wow, this U visa situation here could be a huge loophole for all of these so-called migrants, Biden's migrants throughout the country, in Chicago, in New York, in Denver, to exploit. And people like Brandon Johnson in Chicago, like the mayor of Chicago, or I should say Emperor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, he'll be more than happy to assist them all get U visas. He will be more than happy, because we know if there's one thing Brandon Johnson loves, he loves prioritizing Biden's migrants over the citizens of Chicago. That's his favorite thing to do. It makes him happy when you all show the city council meetings mad and upset with him, because he feels like there's nothing you can do about it but cry, right? So he would love nothing more than to assist them with this. But as I got to thinking about that more, I thought to myself that most likely won't be the case, because what you have to remember, what I always say over here and what I've always stated over and over again, because it's true, one of the biggest lies that are pushed is that Greg Abbott is just sending Biden's migrants wherever. He's just sending them to Chicago. He's just sending them to New York. He's just sending them to DC. He's just sending them to Denver. He's just sending them to Los Angeles. And that's not true. None of those migrants are being sent anywhere against their will. If they want to stay in Texas, they can stay in Texas. They have the option and the choice to get on a bus to go wherever they want to go, and it'll be paid for on the dime of Texas. It'll be paid for by Texas. We'll send you out. If you want to go to Chicago, that's where we'll send you. If you want to go to New York, that's where we'll send you. So every one of Biden's migrants that you see in Chicago, New York, and elsewhere, they are there because that's where they wanted to be. They chose to go there. They didn't have to. They could have stayed in Texas if that's what they wanted to do, but they chose to come to a city near you and live in your neighborhood for the freebies. That's what they chose to do. So because of that, I don't think we'll see mass abuse of the U visa application process. But then again, at the same time, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if that was still the case. I really wouldn't be surprised if that's still the case, because especially, while we're still under the rule of Biden, and when you have mayors like Brandon Johnson that are still running the show, yeah, I can see them fully trying to assist them now, from going from mass asylum fraud to essentially mass U visa fraud. It wouldn't surprise me, but it shouldn't be the case, because none of Biden's migrants were forced to go to the cities that they're in right now. This situation with Ron DeSantis sending these guys to Martha's Vineyard, that's his own kind of special case. DeSantis was just on some other stuff. DeSantis was just on a little funny business. Like, well, you know what? How about you guys take him over there in Martha's Vineyard since you want him here so much? But like, once again, in closing, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, that just simply isn't the case when it comes to Biden's migrants that are in Chicago and New York and LA. They went there on their own. So realistically speaking, they on no way should they be applying for these U visas. They just shouldn't even be applying for them. And I would assume those would be immediately rejected because they chose to be where they are. So with all that being said, as you can see, I'm running out of words. So that does it for today's news. Please make sure you like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms, and follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and will be pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you for your time, and until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.